I'm Kim Jane. We did it at the cricket, we did it at the rugby, and now we're going to do it here.
And I'm George Elliott here at Hamilton for the first time.
Hi, I'm Charlie Handlebars Kovacs and the Wilson Security Commodore.
Hi, I'm Warren Millett from Wake Up Racing, and this is a wake-up call for the Kiwis that they'll never forget.
Yeah, bro. I'm Chris Pitha. I'm the reigning New Zealand V8 Ute champion. You Aussies are dreaming.
G'day and welcome to the Hamilton Street Race and the V8 Ute Racing Trans-Tasman Challenge. We've brought some of our leading V8 Utes from Australia to have a go at our counterparts here in the Shaky Isles. Who is going to hold aloft the Trans-Tasman Challenge trophy this weekend? Hang around, wait and see. It's bound to be tight and it's bound to be crunching.
Trans-Tasman rivalry has been part of Australian sporting culture for generations. And joining the traditional Kiwi Kangaroo Challenge is a new test match series, guaranteed to deliver more blows than a crunching Bledisloe Cup final. The Yokohama Australian V8 Ute Series first crossed the Tasman in 2006 for a 4-race test series at Manfield, near Palmerston North.
Oh, yes! Now this is what the Kiwis came to see.
Whoa! The Utes!
Brady.
Oh, God! Gets into the side of Jack Wills. It has done an amazing job with Charlie Kovacs.
And they will take out the weekend. Check.
Aussie and Kiwi drivers teamed together in a series of races, with the final race featuring a driver change and the usual V8 Ute crowd-pleasing tackles. Australia won the series, with Adelaide's Charlie Kovacs taking the win for Holden, with co-driver Simon Wills. It was an Aussie whitewash that led to the Kiwis setting up their own V8 Ute series to rebuild for the return bout.
The 2006 Trans-Tasman series was hugely successful and resulted in Manfield having its biggest crowd ever. So Ash Cairns and the rest of the guys got together and thought we should do this in New Zealand permanently. So from that we put together the basis of 12 guys and ordered 16 brand new Utes, and hey presto, here we are at the ITM 400 3 years later.
The Trans-Tasman concept is gaining some serious momentum. All Utes have been built to exactly the same technical specifications, with planning already underway for future test series events.
At the moment we're talking about a 1 year here, 1 year there, then we're probably talking about 2 events a year, one here and one in Australia every year.
8 drivers representing the green and gold have crossed the Tasman, and captain of the Aussie squad is Holden V8 Ute frontrunner Kim Jane.
It's not a championship round, but we do want to knock off the Kiwis this weekend. We've been trying really hard. Found the track to be pretty exciting out there and it's challenging.
Jane will be well supported by a veteran of 200 Ute races, Charlie Handlebars Kovacs, the reigning Trans-Tasman champ.
Ideally, this is another good step in promoting and raising the profile of the Utes both in Australia and New Zealand. It is a great category. You sort of can't go wrong, and judging by today's turnout with the competitors and the people who have been coming past saying g'day, they obviously love the concept here. Why not keep it going?
Former NASCAR champ, movie star and author George Elliott is another Aussie keen to clobber the Kiwis.
Absolutely. I mean, I really like the racetrack. I think it's fantastic. A little bit of a cross, I think, between Adelaide and Surfers Paradise. The chicane, very much like Surfers Paradise. The only difference here is you've got a little bit more room to run off, but great circuit. Brisbane-based Greg Willis is flying the forward flag for the Australian team.
Well, look, I love street circuits, and having just come from Clipsal, you know, it really suits the way I'm driving at the moment. Everybody's new to it. Some of the curbs are a bit slippery, so yeah, you know, there's a lot of things where we can make up a lot of time, so I think it's going to be a lot of very close racing.
And the Billy Nudgel Bullet, Captain Rob Jarvis from northern New South Wales, is also keen for a serving of kiwi fruit in the PVC Ford.
I think this is great. It's mixing us up together there, where we're getting to know a few different people, and we got to come overseas.
Perth driver Alan Letcher grew up in Hamilton. However, along with the majority of the Kiwi population, defected to Australia and is looking forward to turning on a show for his mates.
I did my apprenticeship in King Street, which is through the chicane, exactly the same area as that. And I also used to live on King Street as well, which is about 100 metres up the road. So we've done a few dices around there with the coppers and all sorts. It was great fun in those days, but I think I'm risking it this weekend.
Sydney backpacker mogul Warren Millett also joins the team in the Wake Up Holden, along with Jeff Dingo Kernahan, an expat Aussie now living in New Zealand.
I've always considered myself to be an Australian. Still have an Australian passport.
The Kiwi contingent is also very strong, although Colin Corkery, who's won on both sides of the Tasman, is not interested in team tactics.
Our first car, it doesn't matter about country really, you just want to win.
So if you're up against Chris Pitha, it doesn't matter whether he's a New Zealander or Australia, you'll belt doors with him all day long?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've raced with him in Australia before, and the other three I've raced with them as well, so I just want to beat all of them, really.
Captain of the Kiwi team is Chris Pitha, the reigning New Zealand V8 Ute champion who won 5 out of the 6 rounds in the NZ Ford, owned by mentor Ash Cairns.
I always plan to be the first car home in general, so I'm planning to win it and win it for the Kiwis. And hopefully Colin and the rest of them are right there behind me. I think Charlie Kovacs is starting directly behind me, so I'm sure he'll be one to watch as well, but hopefully I get a clean start and have a good race.
Welcome to the Hamilton 400, New Zealand's premier motor racing event for the second V8 Ute Trans-Tasman Test Series. The arguments have already started as to who will win the trophy. So with 3 races for the weekend to decide the 2010 V8 Ute Trans-Tasman Test Series, it's time to strap on the helmet, plug in the team comms, get the gloves on, buckle up, tuck in the tackle, and get set for qualifying at the Hamilton 400.
Clear and sunny conditions set the mood for a tense qualifying session with Pitha and Jane quickly out of the box. Jane had missed an earlier session due to a broken engine mount and was keen to maximise his track time. Pitha was the first to hit 190 down the main straight into turn 1. The NZ Ute really hooked up for a quick time. Australia's Warren Millett received his first wake-up call at turn 3, which caught out the Sydney sider big time.
I was going a bit too quick and hit the ripple strip and understeered into the brick wall. So, yeah, the TAFE guys fixed it. We were there till 1 o'clock last night and straightened it better than you.
The NRMA Insurance Smash Repair team did a great job with the repairs, ensuring the Holden would be back on the grid for race 1. Kovacs was also quick in the Wilson Security Holden, keen to keep the #1 Trans-Tasman plate firmly planted on the side of the VE racer. New Zealand's Simon Byrne is a regular front-runner in the McDonald's Falcon and was inside the top 5 and expected to be one of the Kiwi standouts. Peter Robb was another casualty, heavily damaging the front of the number 68 Holden after 2 Kiwis clobbered each other in qualifying. Interesting tactics considering these guys are playing on the same team. Not to be outdone, James Huggy Urquhart also pulled the wild card coming onto the main straight, touching up the front of his Holden. Greg Willis and George Elliott both had solid runs in qualifying, Elliott scoring a V8 Ute career best of 8th fastest in the Victoria Coffee Holden. Rob Jarvis was also pushing hard in the BBC Ford, a little too hard at times, just touching the wall on the fast back straight chicane on his way to 9th fastest. In the closing minutes of qualifying, Jane put it all on the line for Australia. However, at the end of the 20-minute session, the New Zealand team had struck the first blow with the Kiwi kid, Chris Pitha, taking pole by 2/10 from Kim Jane in the Bob Jane T-Mart's Holden. Corkery snuck into 3rd from Kovacs and Simon Byrne, with Matt Lockwood, Graham Byrne, Elliott and Jarvis rounding out the top 9.
This is a team event this weekend, you know, it's not a championship round. I want to go out there and at the end of the weekend I want New Zealand to be on top.
We do want to knock off the Kiwis this weekend. We've been trying really hard. It's found the track to be pretty exciting out there and it's challenging and top of the wall a few times, which if you pan down the side of the car you'll see. So it's got all the aspects of a good street circuit.
We're out there to try and prove that with a big series in Australia that we will end up on top of the pack now.
Charlie Kovacs wearing the #1 on the plate on the side of the car this round. This is the second time you've been to New Zealand. You're pretty proud to have #1 for the Aussies?
Yes, we are. We come over here with a bit of a crew and hoping to kick some Kiwi butt.
Love you, Mum.
And there I was the whole time thinking the M stood for McDonald's when in fact it says I'm loving it and it stands for Mum. The boys are coming out to play. A great crowd in the house here at the Hamilton 400. Matt McKeldin, there is tension burning down the building at the moment.
Oh, how good is this? We were last here in 2006, Wade, so it's 4 years ago Charlie Kovacs took the victory as we look at grid #1.
Chris Pitha and Kim Jane, Charlie Kovacs, Colin Corkery, Simon Byrne, George Elliott, Captain Rob Jarvis, the Phantom, Matty Lockwood, Graham Byrne and Alan Letcher in the top 10.
Greg Willis starts from 11th. Jeff Spencer, Grace, Kernahan and Warren Millett out of 15th. James Urquhart, Peter Robb, David Kernahan, and in 19th position, Peter Ward.
Stormy conditions in the sky. Will that translate to a storm on the racetrack? We are green. Away we go into turn 1. It'll be Pitha and Kim Jane as we look through the windscreen of the handlebars Kovacs. Wilson Security Holden.
There's no mucking around down into turn 1, but it looks like we've had a clean start, Wade. All cars have made it through.
Well, clean towards the front, Matt. Not sure what's doing at the back. As we look at Pitha now, under brakes in the NZ Ford. Kovacs in there behind. I notice he's carrying number 1 as the man that beat them all 4 years ago.
That's exactly right. Defending champion from Manfield 4 years ago. He is so pumped to be here as we watch Jane now come down through the Samsung sweeper for the first time.
The assassin, Melbourne's Kim Jane. Captain Rob Jarvis off to a pretty good start. The Billy Nigel Bullet in the BVC XR8.
That's his best qualifying effort ever, Wade. He was pumped up after qualifying.
Oh, look at that through the S's. I like the chicanes.
That is going to provide action all weekend, there's no doubt about it.
The cars get very unsettled through there, and, well, we kind of like that. There is the Macca's entry of Junior Burner. Doing a nice job too. He's qualified round about top 5.
Yeah, he's been competitive in the New Zealand series. He's a father and son team as well. His father is racing back further in the field there.
Oh, look at this. The McDonald's car. Big charge up onto the back of Corkery. We ride on board with Warren.
What's he done here?
He's got lost. He's outbraked himself.
Well, I think he's forgotten that this is a street circuit, Wade. Plenty of bumps around the place, and on cold tyres, that is a bad move.
You go up to Warren Millett and say, "You're right, Warren." Yeah, mate, no worries. It's all good. Nothing worries Warren Millett as we look back off the Ozfield tailgate there of Captain Rob Jarvis. This man who got interested in the category through watching the TV coverage, thought, I like this, went out and bought himself a Falcon, and now he's a racer some 7 or 8 years on.
Alan Letcher here on board down into HSV turn 1. Someone in front of him looks like the Phantom Lockwood just pinched a brake. He loves these streets, Wade. He used to drag race here 20 years ago with his mates.
Well, he should have some sort of experience here, shouldn't he? George Hollywood Elliott, his best qualifying result to date in the Victoria Coffee Car. 6th on the grid and running very strongly. There's not much that man can't do. He's an award-winning novelist. He's a film director. He's a movie star. He's a hotelier. He does it all, does George.
Oh, absolutely. But I think of all the things he's done, Wade, it's fair to say racing is the one he loves the most. As we go back on board, the SS inductions on board with Alan Letcher.
And Alan, of course, Mr. Spectacular, that is for sure. He knows how to get a car airborne. Oh, speaking of airborne, the Phantom getting some big air there.
Well, Matty Lockwood making an impression here. He's in the older style VZ Commodore. He made his debut, I guess, a few years ago in Australia on V8 Lutes as we watch the Century on board with Warren Millett. How wild is he?
Warren having a go. Here we go. This is the corner that caused him a bit of grief earlier on. So, lock up just then from George Elliott. He smokes the beans just a bit there in that Victoria Coffee Car.
Well, what these guys have got to remember, Wade, is that this is a long circuit, 3.4 Ks, and it's a bumpy street circuit. And these are heavy race cars. You've got to treat them a little gentle right at the start.
Anytime you start a sentence with what these guys have got to remember, I get worried. Kim Jane is your leader. Here comes the kid, Chris Pitha, the New Zealand V8 Ute champ, closing in on a man who carved out an awesome career. Look out, we've got a big lock-up.
Oh, that's Junior Byrne. He just overcooked it a little bit, and that's allowed Corkery in the supercharged batteries entry to just get the position back he's been trying for the last lap.
They never overcook it at Macca's. He's going to have to hand back the sponsorship. There's Papa Corkery, a man who spent a fair bit of time in Australia racing in the V8 Ute Series. Car looks almost identical as he restored it.
Well, I don't know, because it was involved in a massive accident, if you remember, a couple of years ago. But no, I think that's a New Zealand car just with the same paintwork. Haven't seen him for a while, but he has been testing supercar with Paul Morris the last 12 months.
The little fella, as we watch Warren Millett in the wake up, number 88 car, closing in on Peter Ward's tail. Ward gets a good run out of Sky City just here. The V8 Utes loving it around the streets of Hamilton here for the 400. And this is test match number 1. This is a great battle with the race lead here. Kim Jane, Pitha is coming. The Kiwi in front of his home crowd. He's popped up. This could be the pass here. Oh, Pitha. What a Pitha of a pass.
Oh, Oh, look at that, and he's sideways off the corner too. Kim tries to fight back down through the final right-hander at Big Pond. He's going to have to get clean off the corner to make it onto the main straightway.
Gee, hasn't he timed this well, the kid? Let's have a look at this again, your Yokohama replay. And he used the advance perfectly here. Kept the car very straight. Kim had to watch him tip in sideways off the turn. Good driving from the Kiwi.
Yeah, but Kim just left that door so far open. That is unusual.
Look out, here comes Burner again. Another lock-up from Burner. Corkery, a couple of the Kiwis desperately trying to charge here. That's Junior Burner trying to get another spot up. In fact, he's up to, what, fourth now behind Charlie Kovacs and Corkery. He doesn't want to come fifth.
Absolutely not. I mean, look at that. He's done it again.
Oh, look at this. They're supposed to be teammates.
Oh, no. This is playing perfectly into the hands of Kovacs, just looking in the mirrors, laughing through the mustache.
Oh, look at Corkery. A couple of stunning cars there too, just presented beautifully. Although Corkery's flat out trying to unpresent his at the moment.
You'd have to say big ups to Simon Byrne. He hasn't been in a car before this race for 6 months. Oh, and he's clipped the tyre barrier.
He's clipped it. He ate the tyre barrier.
The radar is not working, but a great run from a guy who's not raced a ute for 6 months.
Colin Corkery, desperate to try and pick up the Burner. He's nearly had a couple of bites of the Big Mac just then. Now, Burner gets away. We look back. Oh, Greg Willis in the pits. He's been driving his XR7. He's been on 7 cylinders, unfortunately for him.
Yeah, well, they've released the car though, Wade, so hopefully it's not a terminal issue.
Well, we're watching George Elliott here, the pacemaker headers onboard camera on the Victoria Coffee SS Holden. And Hollywood George, things going very much to, well, almost his script. Here comes Kim Jane. We're into the last lap, and the Aussies fighting back. Door to door with Pitha. What a pass.
Oh, that was outstanding. He just pinched off the end of the exit there, so Chris couldn't get the power down. That is age and experience right there, Wade.
It's a lonely ride for Charlie Kovacs, further back in the order in third. Pitha got caught. He wasn't expecting a pass on the outside here.
No, absolutely not. He's gone defensive right. Big braking manoeuvre, and then look at that. Kim just takes a split second, and watch him turn in a touch early, and that stops Pitha from getting a clean run off one.
Got to remember, this man's a former NASCAR star. He used to race around the Calder Park Thunderdome.
Oh, look at that.
Perfect pass.
Textbook.
And he cut off the momentum. Pitha got shut down. Look, he nearly nailed the mirror. In fact, he just peeled the mirror back a smidge. Fair bump play on the Yokohama Advan replay, giving us the lowdown as Kim Jane looks to snatch back the lead in the last lap.
And that's what we see all the time on a good tight street circuit, is that if you can't get off the corner, Wade, there is a gap to the next car.
Oh, Jane! That's beautiful! How good was that?
The PDW on board, he's fired up for Australia through Big Pond for the final time.
I'm going to get all emotional.
How good was that?
That was beautiful driving. And Kimmy, look at me, Kimmy. Main straightaway action. Pitha closing him down, but the assassin, Kim Jane. What a drive, Matt McKeldon.
Oh, how good was that? He was in P2 for most of that. Chris got him on the second last lap, and then the switch over. Janey got him down here into HSV.
Let's look at the results. Please, can we see a replay on the slide job? Jane, Pitha, Kovacs, Byrne, Corkery, Jarvis, Lockwood, Letcher, Byrne, and Elliott in the top 10. That was beautiful.
Grace in 11, Spencer in 12, Rob in 13th, Urquhart 14th, Kernahan 15th, David Kernahan in 16th, Peter Ward 17th, Millett 18th, and Greggy Willis in 19th.
It was very satisfying. It was a tough race. We got a great start. Sort of try to take it easy in the middle of the race, protect the tyres a bit and the brakes, because it's 10 laps for these cars is a long race, and you always knew Chris was going to have a go at us, and he came up the inside. We were just, I was probably a little bit unaware, and I think then I made a mistake through the chicane, just about, flipped the thing over and sort of whacked myself on the head a couple of times, and then, knuckled down and concentrated.
The car was going quick, and I had the measure of those older gentlemen over there for most of the time, so I wasn't too phased. It's early in the weekend, and I didn't want to feel them left out the whole race, so I let them go at the end there. Just might have had a slight problem with the gearbox into that final turn there, but it's all good. We're fast enough. We'll come through for the Kiwis in the end.
Yeah, look, test one we got off on the 11th position, made up a couple of positions, then lost a cylinder.
Is I got hooked out on the outside, a couple of cars on the inside, and then we flat spotted a tyre, so we're kind of running around there on 50-cent pieces for a while. But yeah, hopefully on the getting the inside start might make the difference.
Plenty of people have said that the V8 Ute Racing Series is an out-of-control racing series, but really that's just the drivers. If you take a closer look in the engine bay, we are heavily controlled. Right here, an SS Inductions growler unit that feeds cold air into the engine. Our spark plugs are supplied by Champion spark plugs. All the way over to the other side of the engine, a controlled battery from Century Batteries as well. If you have a closer look at the engine down here, we're provided race headers from Pacemaker headers. And the control oil for the Australian V8 Ute Racing Series is Newlon oil, giving each car approximately an extra 10 horsepower. V8 race utes are some of the heaviest race cars you'll ever find at a portly 1,800 kilos. So how do you bring such a heavy race car to a stop? Well, you need a dynamic braking package. Now, you'll have a look here. It's a massive brake caliper here from AP Racing and Competition Friction. Mated to that, we have a really chunky racing pad from Ferodo Racing. Look at the size of this disc rotor. This is the only thing that will pull them up, and DBA have been supplying us this brake rotor for many a year. Bilstein Quadrant Suspension have been the control suspension supplier to the V8 Utes for around 7 or 8 years. Without these guys being so good, these guys can't do their job, and we end up with a V8 in the wall. Of course, the most vital part of any race car is a wheel and tyre. This wheel here is a PDW wheel. All 32 of our race utes drive on them, and they're available from Bob Jane T-Marts. But of course, the tyre, and this is the Yokohama R-Spec tyre that we race on. And you're only allowed 6 per race meeting. 1,800 kilo race cars on an R-Spec tyre proves for massive action. How do you get an 1,800 kilo race car off the start line? Well, you've got to have a pretty good clutch, and Extreme Clutches supply all of our drivers with a heavy duty race clutch. Now, let's see if all of these components we've talked about all work in unison and provide us with some great racing. Rollover Lecture, you have given us some spectacular footage in the past 2 rollovers in a couple of months last year. In the first test, you went pretty safe there. Can we expect fireworks and perhaps a little bit of table-turning action in test number 2?
Well, there's been a gentleman's agreement, as you know, Matt, that we're going to take it easy on the second, but round 3, who knows what's going to go on that.
Well, we're actually starting on the inside, so that'll make it a little easier. I got hooked out on the outside, a couple of cars on the inside, and then we flat spotted a tyre, so we're kind of running around there on 50-cent pieces for a while. But yeah, hopefully on the getting the inside start might make the difference.
Back in 2006 for the first Trans-Tasman Challenge, we put Aussies and Kiwis together in the same cars. But not this time. This time it's country against country, mate against mate. It's Aussies versus Kiwis. Let's see how they roll in test number 2.
Gee, they're so well behaved behind Matt McKeldin, that worries me. Let's take a look at them lining up for test match number 2. The 2 protagonists in race 1, Jane and Pitha, will again square off. Byrne, he can step it up to Charlie Kovacs, I'm sure.
Simon Grace once again out of 11th. Warren Millet's 13th. And good to see Greg Willis back on the grid, Wade. They've replaced the throttle position sensor in that car.
TPS, as they say in the industry, at least. That's what Charlie Kovacs says. He crept.
Wow.
He was like rising dead. You could just sort of see him edging. Elliott, big pass around the outside. Somebody nearly stalling. A lot of smoke from the Pitha NZ car.
Plenty of action as the lights went out. We're going to have to watch that because that was a massive jump start. We'll see what the officials say about that later on in the raceway.
Leaves flying everywhere here. It's all happening at the Hamilton 400. And this is test match number 2. Junior Byrne up the inside the burner. Captain Rob Jarvis. Have a look at the captain go.
Oh, he's got a new lease on his racing life this weekend, Wade. He has been fired up all weekend. Had his best qualifying and just great racing in race 1. Let's see what he can do in 2.
And he's retired, of course, as well. He sold his business, BVC, so he's a lot more relaxed. Is the lean, mean racing machine from Billy Nudgell. Watching Kim Chain trying to make it 2 from 2. The cars get very unsettled through there.
Yeah, well, there's bumps into the braking zone there, and of course, if you hit that first ripple strip wrong, it upsets you for the second, and there's a big mean wall there ready to crunch you if you've screwed it up.
The flying whiskers of Charlie Handlebars Kovacs, Captain Rob. Geez, that Letcher in the middle as well. And now watching Lockwood. This could be a desperate pass up the inside.
Gee, it's still got some great pace, that VZ, hasn't it, against the VE Commodores, as we go back to Jane at the front of the field. He had a brilliant start, didn't he? But look at Pitha. He's still on the back there. He's not going anywhere.
No, and he won't have liked that at all. We go on board now. The Extreme Performance Clutches onboard camera of Greg Freddie Willis, the man who is the main man of Grove Fruit Juices. The best juice you've ever tasted. And Greg Freddie Willis, who's a world remote control yacht champion in his spare time.
Yeah, he's not competitive much, I can tell you. Having raced with him previously, he's a very competitive individual, and that DNF in race 1 would be hurting him.
Just watching Colin Corkery flash down 194 kilometres an hour. Thank you very much.
Oh, senior burner.
The John Jones still.
Oh, no.
Letcher.
Oh, no, that was not cool.
That's a power hit for the Salon entry, and it's got major issues.
Well, and we'll have to watch this, Wade, because this car looks pretty beaten up, and if it can't get round as we go to a replay here on board with Alan Letcher, he can hear the lockup, has a lockup himself as well, goes to turn in. His senior Burn, where'd the road go? Oh, no. Clearly, Byrne did not see where he was and thought he had cleared him.
I'd say Letcher's been burnt.
Oh, that's a big hit too.
Let's have a look right here.
Yeah, you can see there that Senior Burn on the Advan replay just did not see him in his mirrors.
I dare to pronounce the sponsor on the back of the tailgate. My goodness. We're up with these Kiwi terms. Just, third-degree burns.
Boy.
That's what's happened there.
He's applied those quite nicely.
Oh, my goodness. So there is the result. The John Jones Steel entry of Byrne has got some issues there as well, so there might even be some damage in the steering.
Well, oh no, look at that. It's a rear left flat tyre. Now, that would make sense because he's been hit on the on that tyre by Letcher.
Now, there was Charlie creeping. That's the replay. It's fairly damning. Let's go down to Charlie Jr. in pit lane and find out what he has to say.
Handlebar's going to receive a time penalty of approximately 5 seconds. So I haven't relayed that onto him. We'll just see how he goes in this session and keeps it clean.
Beautiful, thank you.
No worries.
Yeah, I don't blame Charlie for not relaying the information on as we see Byrne in the pits now. They're repairing the damage front and rear to this car.
And you can see here, Wade, the cars are still under the control of the safety car. Alan Letcher's car is stopped somewhere out on the course there. So we see Senior Byrne being released back to the field.
Andrew Neil, thoughts on what's happening to your boys out on the track at the moment?
Well, Simon's maintaining station, but obviously GB's been full of action. Unfortunately, he had a pretty tight move down in turn 1. He got all really into it and then just curbed the chicane too hard and broken the rear rim. So the boys did a real quick wheel change and hopefully we'll get going again, no problem.
Just to translate for our Australian viewers, what he said was our driver basically crashed Alan Letcher out. He's back out there now, and let's go restart.
Boy, plenty of action in the back of the field too. Cars all jumping over each other.
Byrne! Oh, he's got there again. Well, it's the McDonald's drive-through.
Well, at least one Byrne can make a safe move.
Oh, I don't know about that. They're still going at it. Pitha is right there with him. Pitha edges over in the NZ car. Charlie Kovacs! Charlie!
Oh, how good's this from Charlie? Look out, pull it up!
Is it good from Charlie?
Oh, man. That penalty may have just gone to 10 seconds.
He is fired up. The whiskers are akimbo. He's rocking Charlie Kovacs. Look at this for a bunch. Top 12, and he can throw a beach towel over them.
We'll just go to the Advan replay. Makes a great move on Byrne, but then just can't get the car stopped and go straight into the wheel of Pitha. Great save from Pitha. Have a look at this. He heads towards the wall.
Fantastic driving skills from Pitha. Byrne is there with Captain Rob Jarvis. Charlie, another enormous lockup.
Looking at that car, it's sitting down on the front left, so that hit onto Chris Pitha. He's going to come in and have to get a new wheel as we look at the onboard from the Newlon onboard from Kovacs, and here the cars go, swamping him left, right and centre. He's still staying online though, Wade.
He's doing a very good job. Corkery is right in there as well. Here comes George Hollywood Elliott making a run. So Byrne with enormous pressure from Captain Rob Jarvis. Gee, that big pond sign's an endangered species, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's not going to last for long, as with the supercars as well. That gets plenty of a workout across the weekend. Have a look at Byrne pushing onto the main straight.
Great pictures here from the Hamilton 400. It is the Trans-Tasman V8 Ute Test Match Series. We go on board with Greg Freddie Willis of the Grown Fruit Juices XR8.
194 kilometres down the main straight from fourth to third. Hello.
Oh, Greg. Greg.
It's catching them all, isn't it, down there at turn one? There are bumps right into the braking zone. And as you would say, Wade, he's missed it by a suburb.
There might have been traces of the juice of mandarin in the bottom of his race suit after that one, because that concrete was coming up extremely quickly. Lockwood, the Phantom, getting a bit intimate with the concrete guardrail just then.
And this is the battle that we saw going on in the first test match as well. Phantom Lockwood and Colin Corkery in the supercharged car. Again, making it easy for the Aussies in some way, because they just slow themselves up when they race. Here's Charlie, the Newlon on board, being released from his, I guess, wheel change and time penalty.
And there's Sylvie, Charlie's long-supporting, loyal wife there with the grimace. Geez, Kim Jane, push a little harder, son. The PDW wheels, Bob Jane T-Marts, SS Holden of Kim Jane. And man!
If you don't mind.
Is he having fun, you think? Uh-oh. Look at this, George Elliott.
Whoa.
He's about to help the tailgate loose.
Oh man, that's Urquhart in the Wildcard V8 Commodore. He's a New Zealander, so go get him, George.
Hollywood, what's he going to do with him? He'd be flashing back to his old NASCAR days here. I'll take...
he's got plenty of understeer.
Right behind him and closing in too. So George has got company in behind there as well.
Yeah, Spencer in the... look out! Urquhart has just nosed it straight into the big pond sign. I didn't see a lockup, Wade. I wonder what caused that.
We're about to find out, I would think. We're right on board with Charlie Kovacs. And here comes Byrne. Here comes Byrne. Oh, he's aggressive, this guy in the Macca's car.
A little bit of debris back there at turn one as well. Just came off the back of the car, but Charlie got a great run on him as we're on the final lap now. Kim Jane holding at bay the NZ Falcon of Chris Pitha.
You see the crowd. They're absolutely jammed against the fence. They are loving this V8 Ute action. Pitha doesn't want to go 2 from 2. He doesn't want to lose again.
Well, it's only 3 test matches as we go to a replay here, an Advan replay. This is Urquhart. How close was Elliott? But I still don't know what he did.
George didn't get him. He just got to lock up. And unfortunately,
there it is.
When you lock the brakes, you can't turn.
Inside right. Just pinched on the brake.
It's on! Jeez, Pitha really put it to Jane. They're door to door, sideways into the last lap. It is all or nothing now. Pitha making the run on him as he backed the kid. What a pass from Pitha.
How good was that? There was no way that Pitha wanted him to go up to. We go back to an Advan replay. Boy, oh boy, that could have been ugly, Wade. That's the same corner that Jamie Whincup wrote the Vodafone car off 2 years ago.
Is this going to be 1-1 or is it going to be 2-0 to the Aussies? Pitha, desperate to avenge his pride here on his home circuit. He moved across big time then, and Pitha will make it 1-1 on the streets of Hamilton. He had to dig deep, though, to get the win.
The desperation. That is a desperation move. Byrne picks up third for New Zealand.
Byrne is
completely avoiding Charlie there.
That is amazing. Pitha gets the win over Jane. Then it's the danger man, Simon Byrne. Captain Rob fourth. Well done. Corkery, Lockwood, Grace, Elliott. Kovacs with a fill. Warren Millett, the Dingo, Kernahan, Graham Byrne, Charlie Kovacs. It is on.
I loved it the whole time. It was definitely a challenge. Kim was quick and I chased him hard and managed to get by there near the end of the race and put one off on the board for the Kiwis.
Did you know how many laps were left before you threw that dice roll up the inside there and the big slide upside Kim Jane?
Yeah, I did after the safety car. Jake told me there were 6 to run and I knew I needed to get on and at least put pressure on him and take the opportunity when it came up, and that I did.
We changed the car between race 1 and race 2 and I sort of said to the guys, leave well enough alone, but they have to play, and the car just started going off a little bit in the later part of the race, which allowed him to sneak up on me and then put on the dice to end all dices, really. Those couple of corners, I was getting a bit worried about it myself.
Had a flying start, nearly got Chris at turn 1. It was a matter of following them through. Then I saw Charlie Kovacs coming through on the the inside into turn 2, and I just gave him a bit of extra room because I thought he was just going to go past us, and he did, and he nearly took Chris out, and it was just all mayhem. So I went from P3 to P5, and it took me about a lap and a half, and finally into ITM corner, I just down changed a few gears and got 2 and 1, was back to P3, so I was just elated.
Yeah, it's really hard to fly like an eagle when you're surrounded by Kiwis, isn't it?
Mate, a little bit of battle damage on the front of your car too. Looks like a couple of the guys were rubbing.
Yeah, we did a little bit of rubbing. I don't think it was anybody's fault. We just sort of, got caught up in racing. Had a little bit of a problem. My gearbox was jamming between 2nd and 3rd. And, if you don't keep that momentum up, man, they're just going to be all over you.
The rails are bent at the front, but the boys reckon they can get it all straightened up for tomorrow. So just depends on when they pull it apart and have a look. But at the moment, looks like we're going to be on the grid for tomorrow.
Look, first time in 200 and something bloody races, I jumped the start. Goodness me, it's like... what?
Welcome back to the streets of Hamilton in New Zealand, where an arm wrestle of epic proportions is breaking out. Chris Pitha and Kim Jane have already got a win apiece. Who's going to win the 3rd and final test match? Charlie Kovacs Jr. has his fingers crossed that his dad, Charlie Sr., will maybe come across with a victory himself. Well, it's been a touch of Hollywood on the streets of Hamilton. Here's George Elliott.
Hey, Wado. Welcome to Hamilton. It's great to be back in New Zealand racing. Haven't been to Hamilton, of course, but I've been 3 or 4 years now. But yeah, the New Zealanders love their motorsport. And as always, the competitors are tough, so definitely the right ingredients for a good race.
Oh, mate, that'd be just the ants pants for me. I've never had a win in any race yet, and I've been racing for 7 or 8 years now in the Utes. But saying that's not what I'm here. I'm just here having a bit of fun. Like I said, I'm on holidays now. I'm on one big permanent holiday, so I'm just enjoying myself.
Mainly mind games, that's all I've been using all weekend with these Kiwi boys, but obviously didn't work yesterday. Our car was probably a little bit tougher at the end of the race, so we've made some adjustments for a 14-lap race. I don't think we've ever done one this long, so we'll just have to wait and see how it pans out.
I'll probably leave it for the guns up the front, but anyone I can get my hands on will give them a scragging.
You might. You've got about 6 months to fix these cars before your next championship round. Are you prepared to bend it if that's what needs to happen?
Well, I'm quite surprised it's still going. I thought it'd be stoved in the first couple of races, but everything's been going pretty good, so Murphy smiled on us.
It'd definitely be an advantage, I think, if we can make it to the first turn in the lead. I'm starting off pole, but have found that the VEs tend to launch a bit better off the line with the independent rear end suspension, so I'll try and minimise the damage off the mark and hopefully come away from it out of turn 1 in a nice position.
Given yesterday's effort, your team have sat down and told you about the starting procedure for today?
Yes, I think it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then the lights go out. Yes, yeah, I've got that one right now, thanks, Matty.
All Ute racing, the larrikin comes out in you pull the helmet on, the red mist starts, and yeah, look, you do what you've got to do to get it further up the front.
Greg Freddie Willis telling us what he has to do to get himself further up the order. This is it, the whole bowl of wax, the whole sheep to shear. Who is going to win the 3rd and final test match? The decider, Matt McKeldin.
Yeah, look, the Aussie guys through that last test match are so fired up. They cannot lose this. They are focused and ready to rock and roll.
Well, what about the McDonald's war machine of Simon Byrne? He's off again. Sideways off the second row. Kovacs through the middle. Here comes Handlebars.
Boy, what a great start from Kovacs. Oh, look Jarvis getting pinched up into the middle of the corner.
Never mind the ripple strips just there, fellas. Just a guide. We're on board. This is the new lot on board of Charlie Kovacs. How about Captain Rob Jarvis in 3rd?
Well, as you'd like to say, mate, someone must have taken him out the back in a wet Hessian bag and beaten him with a stick. This is phenomenal.
Colin Corkery squeezes in Kovacs. He went through the crosshairs then of Charlie Kovacs.
Didn't he what?
This is the left-hander, Corkery. They're at it again, these two. We're door to door at Hamilton. The crowd will be loving this.
Well, this is the run now down to the chicane. Let's see who will blink first. Pitha had the line. Jane just had to get out of it.
Beautiful shots. Oh, Pitha sideways through the chicane just then. character building, that's what that is.
Well, the funny thing about this is these guys, the New Zealanders, have got about 6 months to fix their cars. Their season doesn't start till end of year, or as Jarvis runs right over the Ripple Strip, whereas the Aussies, we've got a race again in a couple of weeks.
Watching Byrne in the McDonald's entry coming after Captain Rob. Is this the drive-through?
Well, he's trying for the over-under, but there's a left-hander up here, so he's not right in position at the moment.
Charlie Kovacs in behind him as well. Captain Rob, enormous pressure here. This is great stuff. The third and final test match, the Trans-Tasman V8 Utes Test Match Series. The new lot on board, this is Charlie Kovacs. He's got a perfect view of what's going on here.
And these guys have to be careful, Wade. This race, or this test, is 14 laps. Now, that's really a very, very long time for these Yokohama tyres. As we go back on board, oh, look at the braking manoeuvre from Byrne. Will Charlie follow him through? Oh, look at this. Jarvis might have just locked it up a bit there, I reckon.
3 wide, we just went in, and Byrne got him. So a masterful piece of driving. And here comes Charlie Kovacs. Coming back at him now.
Byrne goes defensive right. He's got the line down to the 50-metre braking marker. Oh, Corkery. Jarvis is going to lose another one.
Corkery and Lockwood either side of Captain Rob.
That's a hip and shoulder with the best of them. Look at this, 3 wide, Wade.
Someone's got old Captain Rob cranky. He's fired up. Oh, wow. Lockwood came from nowhere on the right-hand side. The Disc Brakes Australia onboard camera giving it plenty. I tell you what, they're working those kangaroo paw disc brakes out big time here.
Well, they're going to have to down here into the flip-flop as well. Jarvis just gets on the brakes a little early there. I'm not sure he wants anything to do with that battle group, to be quite frank, Wade.
There is the Corkery car. George Elliott bouncing through. Here comes Warren. Is he through? I can't.
Man, how busy was he at the wheel there? He was a hair's breadth away from bidding that. I wouldn't mind checking that front steering. Look at this. Here he goes.
Hang on to it, Warren. Hang on to it. He's checking the mirrors. Am I still here? He's dialing up the big numbers. That was 000. It was dialing up then, I think. Big Warren in the wake up, number 88 car.
I bet you he's awake now. That was Speedway style.
He's making brown sandcastles in his undies is what Warren is doing at the moment.
Wade, have a look at the gap now that Pitha, we're only at the end of lap 1. Have a look at the gap that Pitha has gotten on Jane, and Jane back to Byrne. Yeah. That is unbelievable.
It's never that far to your local Macca's. He's in that third spot. Kovacs in fourth. That's a tremendous looking car too, doesn't it? Stand out.
Here's the Advan replay of Millet getting it all wrong through the flip-flops. And he's got a little bit of damage on the back as well. And here's the slide. Left, right, left, and we'll just straighten it up from there.
Warren will say, yeah, I saw Kim Jane do that earlier. I thought I'd have a bit of a crack at it myself, Wado. He's a great bloke, Warren. A real beer and Skittles guy. Corkery. Colin Corkery in the ACA tailgate is right in the crosshairs of Captain Rob Jarvis. Our Disc Brakes Australia on board, giving us some tremendous pictures. Charlie, stout this weekend, even with the penalties.
Yeah, no, he's been fantastic. Oh, look at Corkery. A late break down the inside at the Sky City hairpin. Now, can Jarvis take advantage of this and get a run back? No, he can't. But Charlie closes the door down into the Samsung sweeper, but locks it up. He's too quick. Will this give Corkery a chance down into the flip-flop?
Corkery thought he had a car parking space when he saw the Wilson security sign, but oh no, Letcher! He just overshot the corner. The SS inductions on board. You saw him a quick look in the eye in the mirror to check whether anybody had followed him through.
And look at this. There's no urgency in what he's doing there, Wade. I'd say he's parking that. Well, Spencer now. We go to Advan replay. Hello. Look out. Oh, he's locked. Oh, my goodness. That is a rear brake lockup down into HSV. He was headed for Auckland.
I give that 10 for style, though.
Man.
Greg Willis, the 44 on board there.
Greg Willis.
What you talking about, Willis?
Bit of drifting. This is the exciting part of the circuit, Wade. You come down here and back to third gear now. The Samsung sweeper, accelerating as hard as you can out of here to get the run down into the flip-flop. But this is where it gets a little bit tight, Wade. You have to be spot on the line or you'll end up in the wall. He's in fourth. Gears now back down to third. And here we go. Bounce, bounce, bounce. And just misses that wall on the right-hand side. An exciting part of the circuit.
Freddie has been with the series for a lot of years now as both a driver, a team owner and sponsor. And he loves the category, that is for sure. Here's a look right now at George Elliott.
Oh, no!
He just nailed that tyre bundle.
Oh, boy, oh, boy.
Well, he went left. left, he went right, then he went, you know what, I'm just going to drive right over the thing.
Oh, and he's left his sill there as evidence that he was there.
That would be good for someone's bar.
Oh, look at Spencer.
Oh. Spence, hold on to it, son.
Oh, boy.
You know what? They're just like the guys in Australia, these Kiwis.
Absolutely. We go to the Advan onboard. Look at this. Oh, he just locks up on entry. Thinks I might go right. No, I'll avoid left. No, straight over the bump.
Do you think he looked left to right to see him do it? Oh, Charlie!
Oh, boy.
Charlie! Where are you going, son?
That was weird. There wasn't even a lock up there. It was like he went in there with no brakes whatsoever.
I think he got a bit caught out by where Warren Millett was or wasn't tracking.
Boy.
Geez, caught Warren quickly, though. Here he goes back in the wake up. It's
because
88.
Warren's trying to restart his heart after he saw it come fly down the inside of him.
Well, this is the man right now. This is Millett to the right.
Yeah, there's nothing there. There's no brake there whatsoever until he gets down deep, too far into the corner.
That's only the handbrake that he pulled on just then.
Look at this. Oh, hey. See ya.
Now, spare a thought for Warren. There's a man who had brain surgery last year, and I kid you not, he made a remarkable comeback. This guy here is a surgeon, Chris Pitha, the NZ number 90. This car owned by his mentor, Ash Cairns, and he's doing a phenomenal job, isn't he? What a driver, Chris Pitha. Whether it's Development Series V8 Supercars or V8 Utes, he's a very handy shoe. Pretty talented with the ladies too.
Well, he's been racing for, I don't know about the ladies, but he's been racing for a very long time. At one point in his career, he was the youngest man in the world to have a CAMS or have a racing licence at the age of 13. Here it on, it's back in the pack.
I like this Spencer guy.
On.
He's a nutcase.
Oh, look, he's been loose all weekend as we look at Rocket Man now in the Hill Country Helicopters entry. He's got Senior Burn all over the back of him. Urquhart.
Was it Urquhart?
That's Urquhart in the Wildcard V8. Loose.
Oh, again, Burn. These, what is going on here?
Urquhart knows it's the last lap, and he is giving it everything. Oh, Senior's getting very serious. Have a go at this.
Jeez, Burn just going at it, isn't he, in that blue and yellow Falcon?
Crowd and his team going mental.
There's a corner here, fellas. Oh, he's got the switchback. No, bit of a nudge.
Oh, he slowed him up go-kart style.
Pitha is rocketing towards victory lane. This would seem to be a nightmare for the Aussies, Matt. Will this mean that the Kiwis win?
Well, you know what? This will mean it's 2 tests to 1 and the Kiwis will take the trophy. But having said that, if you're going to get beaten by someone, Chris Pitha's the man.
Doing a phenomenal job. The Kiwi crowd will be loving this. Checkered flag is out. Pitha wins at home in front of a huge crowd here in Hamilton. And they're absolutely thrilled. Why wouldn't they be?
Wow.
Oh, look at this.
Urquhart. Pull it up, pull it up. Oh, man, stop it now. Oh, he almost went through the door of Burn there.
Is this a ramp race?
Man.
Unbelievable. Checkered flag coming out. This is the battle still between Burn and the Rocket Man.
Wow, that was all on that was after the flag had fallen too, mate. How serious are these Kiwi boys?
Let's have a look at your results. Pitha over Jane and Burn, Corkery, Jarvis, Kovacs, Grace, George Elliott, Greg Willis, 9th. Great job for Freddie.
Yeah, he'll be very happy with that. Burn Senior in 11th, Spencer 12th, Lockwood, Kernahan and Ward. Kernahan Senior in 16th, Millett, Urquhart, and rounding out your top 19, Alan Letcher.
I knew that race I had to go out and win, and we had a consistent car. The NZ Ute was on song the whole time, and I was just stoked to bring it home for the Kiwis.
So what does it mean to actually win for your country rather than just win in the car?
Well, this, as you know, is a non-championship event, so I was out there for New Zealand and representing New Zealand, and to win it is just awesome.
We challenged a little bit in the first couple of laps, slammed one of the walls again, you know, one of my favourite turns, and I think we might have just knocked out the tail a little bit, and then, you know, for the rest of the race we had nothing for him.
A little bit too close there at one stage there because I'm not a panel rubber. So, but yeah, no, I had a good run, and I think the New Zealanders enjoyed themselves. I think we give them a run for their money.
Look, I think one of the biggest challenges is the opportunities to do an affordable event overseas and help grow fruit juice, get some international recognition. That's something we don't normally get for our corporate partners. So, you know, that's a great opportunity and a good reason for us to be back next year.
Hollywood Elliott, that chicane down the back almost got you undone once again.
Yeah, it did. Look, I didn't sort of realise there was a big patch of oil there running into it, and all of a sudden I lost steer, and I thought this is going to be really exciting, So all I could do was sort of aim it in the right direction, hope we landed, and luckily I caught it just as we hit the ground again and kept it off the wall. So yeah, it was a bit of a moment.
Yeah, I had a great time. Fantastic circuit and good management, and hopefully we'll be back next year, or maybe the Kiwis ought to come to Sydney next year.
I might retire at the end of the year, eh? Go back to Morris Miners or something like that.
So Chris Pitha stands atop the dais, a very happy man. And so he should be. A tremendous individual performance.
Yeah, well, he got beaten in the first race, but he really did bring it home for the Kiwis in the final two tests. If we look at the points here, Chris Pitha, you can see at 113 with Kim Jane on 109. But if you take into account the team's points, New Zealand took it at 627 points, with Australia at 567. So a comprehensive win for the Kiwis in this Trans-Tasman Test Series.
And a pretty happy reaction for the Kiwis as well. Not quite so happy for the Aussies, though. Well, there was no humble pie around, so the Australian team coach was forced to eat his hat instead.
Good sport, mate. We enjoy ourselves. See you next year.
Well, thanks for joining us at the Hamilton 400. It has been a monster event. We look forward to your company this time next year.
I mean, it's really hard to fly like an eagle when you're surrounded by Kiwis, isn't it?
Awesome. Oh man, it's good, eh?